Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with a special edition of Review of Honor. We are talking about the 19th anniversary pay-per-view show. Now, just to get things a little started, I saw somebody on Facebook say something pretty damn interesting, which was they found it hard to believe that ROH has outlasted ECW and WCW in the grand scheme of things. Like, it lasted longer than those companies, and yeah, it's faced some uphill challenges over the years, but it's also given us some of the best in-ring workers in history, whether it has been Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson, Tyler Black, CM Punk, Nigel McGuinness. These are names that are highlighted on the anniversary show intro, and for good reason, because of what they have done and what they've contributed to professional wrestling. And that's what Ring of Honor stands for. And that is the theme of the night. Is Ring of Honor going to continue to stand for honor? Is honor real? And I can't answer these questions alone. Ring of Honor can't answer these questions alone. We can only do it with the help of my co-host. You guys know him, the three-time baby-making champ. This is Ness. Sir, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing mighty fine, man. Just coming off the high from that show. It was fantastic showing all around. They just really showed up and showed out. The first pay-per-view back. You know, what better way celebrating your 19th birthday as a promotion? All the history and all the fanfare coming back, and what they've been through over the past year. You know, everything with the pandemic. I think they really brought it for this pay-per-view, and kudos to everyone involved.
I think one of the other reasons that Ness is excited about the 19th anniversary show is that when a kid turns 19, you know for sure that you can kick them out of the house. You don't need to take care of them anymore. And Ness is just counting down for his brood. But but guys, we got to talk about hitting that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us because it allows us to do what we do for you. But speaking of counting down, we got to talk really quickly about our pre-show. Our pre-show had two matches, one of which was a title match. We started off with a four-corner survival match. Brian Johnson defeats Danhausen, Eli Isom, and LSG. I didn't see too much of this match, but the little bit that I caught looked pretty good. I don't know if you got a chance to catch too much of this one.
Yeah, I caught it. It was it was fairly entertaining. And everything went exactly how you expected it to be. Danhausen being Danhausen. But it was one point in the match where he turned it up and really was performing well, hitting moves on people. And then, he has a spot with the teeth. He uses it on Brian Johnson, which was deserved because if you guys have been following us, Brian Johnson is just that gnat that every time you swat at it, it'll go away for a second and then come back buzzing in your ear. And he played up to his strength in this match. He really kept the entertainment between him and Danhausen. He was really that glue as far as being the annoying shit heel in this match that pissed off everybody. I think the best performers, to say the least, of the match was LSG and Eli Isom. And I like the fact that they played up on between these two guys. Apparently they have a match coming up on the following week of Ring of Honor TV, where LSG feels as though Eli Isom is, just being handed things. I don't see it that way because he pretty much had to fight to get where he's at as well, just like LSG. But these guys are the future of Ring of Honor, if not the present and now. And I like that the fact that they're utilizing them and putting a spotlight on them. So it was good. It was a very great match. For the pre-show, it was great. If I rated it, I give it 2 3/4, possibly a 3. It was really good.
Nice. The other match on our pre-show, which was a title match, which some of us felt could have been on the actual show, was Shane Taylor Promotions defending the 6-man tag team championship. This match, I caught all of this one, and this one really was good. For what it was supposed to be, on just a pre-show match, these guys were no, we deserve to be on the main card, and we're going to show you why. And it's not just Mexa Squad doing the Mexa Squad things that they do. but it's also Shane Taylor Promotions. Like it was, in a sense, they kind of ran it back the way that Shane Taylor Promotions won the title, but it was just more of that physicality with Shane Taylor Promotions. And this time around, they kind of changed the narrative a little bit, because this time we saw some issues with the people of Mexa Squad. And it's kind of interesting. You have that moment where you are used to something being a certain way for so long that when things change, you're not always sure how to react. So in this situation, Mexa Squad have been champions for so long. They finally got the proverbial, well, I mean, literal punch in the mouth. And Shane Taylor Promotions takes the championship. And now they're thinking, all right, we'll get it back. Like, this is new territory for us. We'll get it back. But now they're having problems. They're having communication issues. There's something going on, and they're unable to win. And I swear, they put up a freaking good effort, because there's one spot where Shane Taylor is lying on his back, and Bandito looks like he's going to go for just like a frog splash or some kind of top rope jump. And they kind of realize that's not enough to put away this guy. No. So let's get Flamina on my back. But that's probably not enough to stop this guy. Let me get Ray Horus on my back too. And in a feat of strength. Now, granted, luchadors normally don't weigh that much. That's kind of how it works in order to be able to move around and bounce around the ring. But because of that, you don't always have incredible strength as well. So Bandito carrying two guys and then jumping on his back and jumping off the top rope was incredible. And it still could not get the job done, because in just under 8 minutes, Shane Taylor Promotions retained the titles. And after the match, we see the problems with Mexa Squad. We see that Flamita is a little upset with how everything turned out, and he feels as though Bandito, who I guess kind of fit that role of leader of Mexa Squad, has let the group down 2 times now. And obviously Bandito doesn't feel that way. Ray Horus trying to play peacemaker between the two. And there seems to be enough tension here that Mexa Squad could be over. And I remember saying to Ness in one of our group chats, don't cry because it happened. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Yeah. And it looks as though we are going to get a change to the card. All cards are subject to change. And we're going to get a triple threat match between Bandito, Ray Horus, and Flamita later in the actual show. So when we were talking about this last week, or earlier this week, and we were talking about previewing the show, and we were like, why is this on the pre-show? Well, in a sense, it made sense. It made sense. ROH, they don't normally do things for no reason. So all of it kind of worked. But Ness, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, this, again, another great match. I'll probably rate it the same, like 2 3/4. It was a lot of hard-hitting action. The things that I took away from this match the most, one with Mexa Squad, their heads weren't I can't even say their heads weren't. It just seemed like Flamita was off, and that threw off the rest of the team. You know, it just seemed like, again, he's going, like you said, he went into this match feeling some way towards Bandito, because it started, showing as the match progressed on. And, these guys just couldn't get their heads on straight or be a cohesive unit. And on the opposite side of the ring with Shane Taylor, Khan and Moses seemed like they were on point. The one that seemed that he was out of it was Shane Taylor. And, Caprice Coleman on commentary was playing up the fact that, the whole situation with Kenny King might be in Shane's head, and he might not have all his wits about him, just thinking about that situation. And actually, as the match was going on, it kind of did seem like Shane Taylor was off a bit. And, maybe that was, storyline wise, maybe that was the reasoning for it. But at the back of my mind, it's like, all right, this is where Khan and Moses have to show up. Shane Taylor's the figurehead. It's Shane Taylor Promotions. So obviously he's going to be the guy you think of when you think of Shane Taylor Promotions. But now just reassured that Khan and Moses aren't just there for the ride, that they're going to be there. They can secure the win. They can get the job done just as well, if not better, than Shane Taylor Promotions. So I like the fact that they actually picked up the victory, and it wasn't just put all on Shane to get the victory for the team for them to retain. So I enjoyed that aspect of the match as well. And then the post match confusion between Mexico Squad members. Actually, I meant to send this to you because ROH accidentally revealed that this was going to happen. I follow them on Instagram, so they had a post with all the matches. Then they had all the different slides of the matches, but one of them, it was just a slide of the 3 members of Mexico Squad, and I'm like, and I meant to send it to you. I don't know why I did it, but it was just them, and I'm like, are these guys gonna have a match? But then they deleted the post, reposted it, and that picture wasn't there. So I'm like, all right, maybe that was an accident, or maybe we'll get something out of it. And then once the match is going on, and I'm seeing, the confusion between Bandito and Flamita, and Horus was there, but he really wasn't there. He was just playing in the background. He was trying to be the mediator between the two. But once that happened, and then the post match, I'm like, all right, so this was what was going to happen. If you didn't catch them, if you didn't catch the post and see the picture, then you wouldn't have known. But I'm not upset about it, as we'll talk about it later, because I love my Mexicans, I love the Lucha Libre, so I was all for it. But congrats on Shane Taylor Promotions on retaining the 6-man tag team titles.
Yeah, sometimes the soldiers got to hold it down for the boss. You gotta step up for the team. And speaking of stepping up for the team, our first actual match on
Sweet
the
transition
card.
there. Sweet transition.
Thank you. I'm trying to get better at it. But speaking of our holding it down for the team, we have our first match on the card. Now, Ring of Honor, I guess it kind of worked out scheduling, setting the matches up the way they were. I think it worked regardless. But we know that Dragon Lee is supposed to defend the TV title and defend the tag titles, but he has to have a surgery. I think it's on his shoulder, and there's some kind of issue there, so he's unable to be here for the pay-per-view. But stepping up for the group is Kenny King, his tag team partner, the other half of the ROH World Tag Team Championships, and he is going to defend the TV title in Dragon Lee's place. So I think they were going to have the pay-per-view start off with Tracy Williams, Dragon Lee. Now they just slot in Kenny King. Everything's fine. But everything is not fine for Los Ingobernables, because Tracy Williams is here to put a little bit of hot sauce on the match, on the title, and everything in between, because he shows out in this match to try to make sure that the foundation starts with a win. And this is also a really great way to talk about the pay-per-view as a whole, because they bookended the pay-per-view with LFI Foundation matches. So we have a really good match here. Just goes a little over 7 minutes. I would give this one, I think I was taking a little bit of notes somewhere for this, and I put 2 3/4 stars. I said that Amy Rose actually was useful, and that was really that probably is what got that extra quarter star.
Finally, she does.
But Amy Rose actually doing something for once. And what I'm talking about here is that Tracy Williams at one point has Kenny King in a really good pinning predicament, and it looks as though he's got him knocked out for the win. And Amy Rose comes around, puts Kenny King's foot on the rope, and manages to get the ref's attention, and makes it look as though Kenny was able to get his own foot on the rope. But Kenny, it kind of seemed as though he didn't have, speaking of feet and on the ropes, it seemed as though he didn't have sure footing throughout this match. It seemed as though Tracy Williams came out the gate with a game plan, and Kenny King being put in a position he wasn't anticipating, defending a title that what he was not supposed to defend, and he was not supposed to have a singles match, and also thinking about the tag match where he's now going to be teaming with somebody he's never tagged before, whereas Tracy Williams can go out there knowing that he has chemistry with Rhett Titus, knowing that he has a rapport with Rhett Titus. Tracy Williams is our new TV champion. Congratulations to Tracy Williams. I gave this one 2 3/4. Ness, what did you think?
I gave it a solid 3. Speaking of the clear confusion again, or just not being on the same page, as they were coming out, Kenny King and Amy Rose, he's just like, I'm not even supposed to be here. Like, did you guys not have this conversation beforehand? Did this happen like the day of the actual match? And that's been the ongoing story with LFI and Amy Rose. Like, there's just seems to be no cohesive unit. They're not a unit at the moment. It's just people just doing their own thing. But for the match, the actual match itself, it was a great match. A lot of back and forth action. It just seemed like it was a great opener. Kenny just being off a little bit made great for the story because, like you said, Tracy Williams came out there. He had one job, and he was focused on doing that job. Kenny King's thinking about, this isn't my title, but I'm the champ. I have to, the interim champ. I have to go in here being pretty much against my will. The last minute, the last second, I have another match later on I'm really more focused and more worried about that match because I'm the actual tag team champion. So he's just been off. He was just thrown off his game a little bit. Now breaking down the whole Amy Rose interaction, she actually finally did something that of some type of importance that was good. And that was with, putting Kenny's foot on the ropes. But soon after, she finally does the one right thing. She fucks up right after that, throwing the television title into the ring, wanting Kenny to use it, and it ends up in the middle between Kenny and Tracy. So Kenny's just like, all right, fuck, what do I do? Do I use it? Do it like, I don't want to, like, he doesn't care about getting disqualified because he'll retain. But he's like, okay, cool, I'll use it. Fuck it. She does it at the wrong time. She just would have, passed it to his side or distracted the ref because the ref clearly sees the title is going to be in the ring. If she would have done a better job at being a manager, not, whatever half-ass haberdashery that she's been doing, he could have retained. He could have retained for Dragon Lee. But it broke down with Kenny reaching for the title, getting caught in the pile driver, and which ultimately led to Tracy Williams being the new TV champion. So now, again, you do one good job, and immediately, like 10 seconds after that, you blew it. You blew it. So your good job that you did doesn't even matter no more. It's null and void at this point. So obviously Kenny's hot. He blames her for, the wrong timing of her interaction and trajectory into the match. And honestly, I can't blame Kenny. I really can't, because that solely came down to Amy Rose. But again, 3 solid stars. It was a great opener. And just like we pretty much predicted, congratulations to Tracy Williams on being the new Ring of Honor TV champion. I can't wait to watch him try to purify that division, because it's definitely coming.
Yeah, and because Kenny King lost and it wasn't the real champion who lost, we know that Dragon Lee is going to be itching for that rematch once he gets back from that surgery. We wish Dragon Lee the best recovery. But moving onwards, we have now kind of a weird grudge match, but kind of not a weird grudge match. One person has a grudge. The other person was like, it was just business. I wanted to be paid. Like, what's wrong with you? I thought that's what we do this for. But for someone, they don't really feel it that way, and that's why we're having this match. We have Mark Briscoe taking on Flip Gordon. This is the match that happens because Flip is paid off by EC3 to cause the distraction or cause the LFI to win the number 1 contendership for the tag titles. Mark Briscoe feels a certain way because he just gotten his brother back on the same page, and now he's lost his brother back off of that page. But if there is a page he is turning to, it is beating the living shit out of Flip Gordon, and that's what he tries to do to the best of his ability in this match. I actually really liked this match. Yeah. This was good. This was a solid back and forth. I gave this one 2 3/4 stars. This was Flip Gordon kind of coming into his own, kind of showing that he can really be a single star. He has been on this kind of singles journey since the demise of Villain Enterprises, since they went bankrupt, but he hasn't been able to really have kind of a statement win. And in a sense, this isn't really that much of a statement win either, because it's coming over a tag team guy. But for Flip Gordon, it shows a willingness to do what it takes, and that's kind of a buy-in to that mercenary moniker of what he is supposed to be. So I really like this match. They had some really stiff hits. If there's one thing Mark Briscoe can do well, it's take and give stiff hits. He's done that very well over the years. And that's kind of why I feel like it was sort of a statement win for Flip Gordon. It's because he showed he is able to and willing to take those hits. And I think that he is going to be somebody who could be an initial challenger for that TV title. I mean, I know that he's kicked out of the Pure. But that leaves him with the TV title as a singles championship to go after. I doubt he wants to go after Roosh. I don't know if that's really or Jay Lethal. I don't know if that's really what he wants to do. But I know he can make plenty of money in his mind if he is the TV champion. So I think him versus Tracy Williams is going to be a good match. We both predicted that Flip Gordon would get the win because he needed the win more than Mark Briscoe, and that's exactly what happens. He gets the win over Mark Briscoe just under 8 minutes as well. All these matches in the beginning are moving at a very quick clip, and that's kind of something that I liked about it. Just all that these guys knew they only had a certain amount of time. Let's get in there, let's do what we need to do, and let's get out. And Flip Gordon comes away with the win. Ness, what did you think?
Yeah, actually, speaking on the timing, even with the last match and then this one, I probably would have rated them a little higher if they got more time. I do think that 2 3/4 stars is fair for this match. Again, it was a great showing by both men, but Flip Gordon definitely did need this win. It definitely cemented his mercenary mindset that I'm just out here doing what I got to do. I got to get the job done, which, you know, he wins with a low blow, a dirty finish. So again, that just reinforces that I got to do whatever I can to get the job done, and that's exactly what happened. It was a lot of, again, another match with a lot of back and forth action. I like the fact that we've seen a little bit a more serious side of Mark Briscoe again, because we really don't get serious Mark Briscoe. And from the time of Flip interjecting himself, and then the tag match, and then just everything after the fact, Mark has a personal gripe with the situation. So it might not be on the levels of Jay Briscoe and EC3 grudge. It's probably like two steps under that at this point, where it's still another Briscoe and EC. And that's another thing off topic. As much honor as EC3 talks about, it's not really honorable to pay a mercenary, to pay somebody to go interject into another match. But, that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later. But again, yeah, 2 3/4 stars. It was solid. I just want to see what they do with Flip now. Keep him rolling. I like the fact that they're putting the momentum behind him.
I think my favorite part of the match was not even action oriented. It was just when Mark Briscoe looks at Flip Gordon. He was like, I wrote it down. I was like, thought you was gonna whoop my ass, boy.
Yeah. And he's just like, it's not going like that.
Flip's just like, I thought I was going to. Oh, this backfired. it was some good moments. And our next match is kind of where, to me, the pay-per-view takes a turn, because some things happen here that we weren't really expecting. We weren't thinking were going to happen. I actually forget how we predicted this match, but we have Dalton Castle taking on Josh Woods. Josh Woods has Silas Young in his corner. I originally thought that this was a Pure Rules match, but as we quickly found out, it was not, because these guys start going all over the place. They are, in a Pure Rules match, you can go outside of the ring, absolutely, but they were getting involved in ways I didn't think that fit a Pure Rules theme. This was kind of a fun match in the sense that they bounced all over the place. They took it to the outside. They were battling back and forth. Dalton Castle trying to be that underdog guy, because despite the fact that they are 1-1, there is a lot of tension here between everybody that's going on, that everybody in this match, and we have that presence of Silas Young in the background, knowing that he is putting additional pressure on Josh Woods to get the job done, be Josh the Goods Woods. And Dalton Castle, the wily veteran, finds a way. After 10 minutes, he is able to put Josh Woods away. Now, how he does that is a little interesting because it happens because Silas Young is attempting to get Josh Woods to use a chair. Now, this is what felt weird because you want him to win, but you are giving him a chair that if he uses, he just gets disqualified and loses. So that part didn't make sense. The other thing is that you're trying to give him the chair while the ref is standing there watching you trying to give him the chair. And third, wouldn't you want, if you're trying to make Josh Woods better, wouldn't you want him to not use the chair? Like, I get the idea of by any means necessary, but you've been trying to train this guy up like he's your Pokemon to get to the point that he doesn't need the chair. Like, he doesn't need anything. Like, he is just that good. But Josh Woods says, no, I'm going to be the honorable person. I'm going to do things the way that, they should be done. And he gets back into the ring, refuses to take the chair, and he ends up getting hit with the chair by Silas Young when the ref can't see. Dalton Castle, while Dalton Castle is somewhat of an honorable man, Dalton Castle is also somebody who is more than willing to take advantage of a weakness should it present itself. That's just the way it works. Oh, and I just want to say, his promo video was absolutely hilarious. Yeah. His promo video was hilarious. But he is able to capitalize off of that chair shot and get the win. And after this, we have a little moment between two guys, one tag, father and son. We have a moment here where Silas Young just tears his child down and says that I tried for 2 years. I put my personal goals, my needs to the side for you, and you did not repay me the way that you should have. You did not listen to me. You did not do what I told you to do, and it's over now. And now I'm just going to cause you pain. I'm going to cause you suffering. We are going to be getting a Josh Woods, Silas Young feud coming out of this. And I kind of like it because I think either way it worked would have been good. If Silas Young had been with Josh Woods had beaten Dalton Castle, and the two of them had continued, I think that would have been fine. And with what we're having now, where Josh Woods and Silas Young are basically dissolving their partnership with Dalton Castle getting the win over Josh Woods and the two of them feuding coming out of this, I think it's also fine because I'm assuming Josh Woods gets the win in the end, and that gets him over to go on and do better things. It does mean that we get a delay on Josh Woods in the Pure Division as Pure Division champion, but I think this is also something that is good for him in the sense of iron sharpens iron, and Silas Young is Ring of Honor iron. He is that. He doesn't move that high up the card. He's kind of like the Minoru Suzuki light of Ring of Honor. He's never going to be the world champion. He might get a TV title run. He might get like a little bit here and there, but he's more of somebody that you fear and you don't want to be in the ring because of how hard he can hit and what he can do. And Josh Woods is going to be better for being in the ring with Silas Young. So Ness, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I give this match. I'll say I want to rate it a little bit. I don't know. I'll probably still give it 2 3/4 because it was good. It really was good. I like the fact that it started off, pure. It started off pure wrestling. Josh and Dalton going back and forth. They're collegiate, they're amateur pro wrestling backgrounds. They talk about it so much, and it just started to show in this match. This started to break down after a while because Dalton said, fuck this wrestling shit. I just need to fight. And because Josh was pretty much overtaking him in the wrestling aspect. So then, Dalton wants to, take it out of the ring, tossing him into the barricades. Silas is on the outside telling him, like, yo, you need to step it up. You got to fight fire with fire. You got to do what he's doing. And for the most part, Josh did start doing that, but he still wanted to keep it pure wrestling and just to the point where he didn't want to have any outside, interference and He didn't want to use the chair and do all these underhanded tactics. He just wanted to go out there and get the victory. At the end of the day, I actually forgot how I initially predicted this. I wanted 2 guys, 1 tag to, remain a team, but this is going to be the better storyline. It's a better opportunity utilizing both of these guys. Once again, I'm a Silas Young mark. I'm a huge fan of him, so he gets some spotlight. And then ultimately, just like I agree, it's going to lead to Josh Woods being put over, and obviously that's the best thing to do. They want to give him the push, give him the rub, where they have this ROH mainstay and legend in Silas Young, putting over the present or in the future of Ring of Honor, and just an amazing talent in Josh Woods. So and then once he hit him with the chair, I said, oh shit, like I didn't expect that to happen. I probably should have. Again, that was just my rose-colored glasses being on for 2 guys, 1 tag. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad at it, and I just want to see. I can't wait to see where the feud goes. I know Josh is going to go off in their matches, so I'm here for it.
So 2 other things that I remembered now is that in the beginning of the match, to your point about them being collegiate amateurs, that's something that we've seen throughout all 3 of their matches. And in this one, we're seeing somebody going for a gut wrench being countered into somebody going for a gut wrench. And I was like, the amount of strength that it takes to actually, just because you're lifting the person and you're I mean, in wrestling, you're always trying to conserve energy. And in this moment, you are lifting the person for a gut wrench, knowing the intent is to not actually hit it and let them counter. Like, that's just incredible. And the other thing was, it seemed as though, and maybe I was wrong on this one, it looked as though before Dalton hit the move that pinned Josh Woods, it looked as though he kind of hit like a low blow. Or he was trying to scoop him or something to hit the move. I think
so, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow, this is now like 3 matches back to back to back that involve some kind of low blow. But we have a match now where if people hit a low blow, maybe the refs is going to let them get away with it, because this is a grudge match. This is 2 people who are kind of pissed off at each other. That's one way to look at it. And that is Jay Briscoe taking on EC3. This is going to be the longest match on the card, just by a little bit, but the longest match on the card. And this one feels real. Like, it felt hard hitting. It felt like everything was, and the story that was being told was really good. I'm still a little upset at the finish. I kind of see it. It makes sense to me. Like, either way, the person who won, it made sense. But I kind of would have preferred the other guy had won. But I liked how the match started, and this is what Caprice and Riccaboni were talking about, was that Briscoe came to fight.
Yes.
And EC3 came to wrestle. And that was interesting, because it's a reversal of everything we've seen in this feud so far. And we get a really solid match. I gave this one 3.5.
Yeah.
This was a really, really good match. These guys put a lot on the line here. Jay Briscoe fighting for honor, in a sense. He's fighting for not just the honor of himself, but the honor of his family, and to prove that Ring of Honor is an honorable place. Like, this is what EC3 has been searching for. This is what we have. We have honor here. Honor is real. That's kind of the theme of the whole pay-per-view, and that's why I kind of liked that the first match, LFI Foundation. Then we get 2 matches. Now, in the middle, we have a match that's not LFI Foundation, but it is about whether honor is real. And that's something that's this kind of theme, and it makes complete sense when it's your anniversary show. So this was a really solid match. I liked it. I liked it a lot. The ending of this match, I was trying to remember what it reminded me of. And eventually I realized what it reminded me of was the ending to Shawn Michaels' Undertaker the second time around. Because at the end of that match, Shawn knew he was done. Shawn knew he was gone. But he could not go out. He had to go out on his terms. He understood that this was the end of the match, which, I mean, is the end of his career, but he has to go out on his terms. And he does that one last defiant act, and then Taker hits that tombstone. In this, we have EC3 on his knees offering the handshake, the honor handshake, to Jay Briscoe, and this time he's looking him in the eyes. And this is a direct play off of that final promo video where they showed that EC3 refused to look Jay Briscoe in the eyes for the handshake earlier, and Jay Briscoe said, "I will shake your hand after I beat your ass. After I beat the respect into you, that's when I will shake your hand." And Jay Briscoe reaches out, he shakes EC3's hand, he pulls him up, hits the pile driver. We get our 1, 2, 3. Jay Briscoe wins the match. I would have personally preferred if EC3 won the match because I felt it would have been a great way to start off EC3's actual contracted Ring of Honor tenure. But I also see the benefits in having Jay Briscoe win this match. And it also kind of is a recurring theme of EC3. Like, he went to Impact for a short period of time. The point was to put Moose over. The point was to get Moose back to where he was supposed to be, which was a legitimate threat. And he did that. Now he's come to Ring of Honor. Yeah, he signed the contract, but I guess what he is there for is to help put other guys over. But in a weird twist, and this is where all of the internet marks are gonna get, you know, upset or where they come in. They're like, well, he was doing that in WWE. Why did he need to leave? Why did he have to be like, you know, oh, WWE was horrible, like they did this, that, and the other thing. Why? Because he wanted to do it in his way. He wanted to be able to have the storylines that he wanted to, and not have, you know, not be losing when Dean Ambrose is like, EC3, did I already beat EC1 and EC2? Like, he didn't want those kinds of, like, just jokes. He didn't want the character to be a joke. He wanted it to be taken seriously. He doesn't have a problem with losing. It's similar to Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears has no problem losing to people. He just wants it to be done in a certain correct way that he views as correct. And EC3 now has the ability to control his narrative, and he is able to put people over the way he wants to. I'm pretty sure he's going to be getting wins from people soon enough. But in this moment, he proves that honor is real, and he sets up Jay Briscoe to be a potential challenger for Roosh or Jay Lethal, depending on who wins in the main event. It doesn't matter. Either way, Jay Briscoe is rehabbed, in a sense, to be able to go after that world championship. So in that regard, take the pin. Like, absolutely eat the pin. So I gave this one 3.5 stars. Ness, what did you think?
Yeah, 3.5 stars for me as well. I enjoyed this match a lot more than I expected to. I said it before. I'm not really, or haven't been the biggest EC3 fan of his in-ring work, but I think this was the best EC3 that I've seen to date. Him just showing up to wrestle. We had our thoughts molded that this was going to be a fight. It's a grudge match. You know, there's bad blood. If it's not even from both sides, it's from one side. And that one side is Jay Briscoe. So that's enough for the both sides. But then the match starts and they're locking up. And they're just, you know, doing holds and things that I didn't expect to actually see, not even just to start the match off. I didn't expect that type of match, period, between these two, like, at all. So that was that was nice to see. Strange in a way, but again, it was great. It worked for the story they were telling. The early days, it's the 19th anniversary. The early days of Ring of Honor. You know, the Briscoes been there. They're mainstays. They're legends. Not even just in Ring of Honor and just, you know, pro wrestling as a whole, but they're the Ring of Honor staples. So you've seen Jay Briscoe's evolution, and that's what I kind of got out of this match. That from the beginning of Ring of Honor, they were, you know, the Briscoe brothers were the not so much pure wrestlers, but they used the wrestling style more so than brawling and then wanting to fight you, to the point where now where Jay Briscoe is like again, like you said, going into this match, we thought it was going to be a fight. EC3 made Jay Briscoe bring out that wrestler in him. Because when I think of, the wrestling, I don't necessarily think of, his wrestling ability. He's a great wrestler as far as Jay Briscoe I'm talking about. But I'm thinking it's going to be a fight. Jay Briscoe's going to kick your ass. So that's what I was thinking going into this. But I was surprisingly pleased the fact that EC3 made him wrestle. And then again, EC3 looked great in this match. The guy looks like a fucking $1 million right off the bat, and then again, I didn't expect him to come out and put on such a great performance that he did. And then, at the end of the match, he finally got what he wanted. From the beginning of the match, actually, let's start that, when he was trying to go for the code of honor, and Jay Briscoe's like, "I'm not gonna shake your hand. Let's do this. Let's get down to business." They got down to business. Post match, or it's coming to the end of the match, the close, and he extends that hand one last time, and Jay Briscoe's at this point, he's like, "Look, you definitely deserve this handshake." Hits him with a J driller right after, but he definitely beat the respect out of, or beat the respect into EC3, and EC3 got that respect out of Jay Briscoe. So even after the match, there was another code of honor adhered to, and I think that was a great way to end this match. 3.5. This might have been one of my favorite matches of the night, just from the story, and then the actual in-ring content matched the story being told as well. So kudos to both guys on a phenomenal match. It was great. It was really great, just because I wasn't expecting that out of them.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to see how they take both guys going from here. This is probably, I think, either the most or second most thing that I'm interested in seeing how they develop these guys going forward. Yeah. But if Ness was not expecting this much wrestling, or this much of a wrestling match out of this match, he definitely was for the next match. And it is our Mexa Squad implosion match, if we can call it that. We have Bandito taking on Flamina and Rey Horus in a triple threat. This is a short match, but in comparison to what we've just seen. But in a sense, you can have a short match when you have three people who can move at Tyreek Hill speeds.
Really.
You can do that. And that's exactly what happens here. We have Rey Horus attempting to, even in this match, play the peacemaker. We have Bandito and Flamina trying to work out their issues, it seems. We have Bandito and Rey Horus saying, "Hey, let's see who's the better between us," like in a friendly manner. We have Flamita looking at Rey Horus like, "Why are you trying to be a peacekeeper? You're an idiot." And it's just fun moments around this entire match. And I gotta say, I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one, because these are your guys. But Bandito picks up the win, and after the match, they try to say, "All right, we got it out of our systems. We needed to have this match. We got it out of our systems. Let's recalibrate and refocus for the road ahead." And Flamita basically says, fuck you, I'm out of here," and hops out of the ring, and leaving Rey Horus and Bandito to be like scratching their heads, what's happening. And it's kind of funny, because when we originally were previewing all of this, we were talking about how we thought Shane Taylor Promotions would retain the titles, and then we were like, well, Bandito can chase the world title, Flamita and Horus could be a tag team, Flamita could chase there's so many different options. The option we did not expect was Flamita saying, "Nah, fuck both of you guys, I'm out of here." So I gave this match 3 stars. Ness, what did you think?
Yeah, I gave this match 3.25. I definitely probably would have. I wanted it to be longer than what it was. It happens. but I definitely probably would have rated it more if these guys had more time. Man, the luchador action all over the place. As short as the match it was great. They packed in what they needed to pack in. The one spot where I believe it was Bandito on the shoulders of Flamita, I believe it was, and then I think it was Ray Horus. He goes for a diving cross body. He takes Bandito out. Bandito hits Flamita with a poison rod. Like that was fucking crazy. That was incredible. But overall, like you said, don't cry because it's over. I got to smile because it happened. It seems that Mexa Squad is no more. I got kind of mixed feelings because Bandito is my guy. I would rather him be the single, like get the singles push. I just think that he has all the fanfare behind him. He's just that the star, obviously. Like you said, he was pretty much not the self-proclaimed or the people see him as the leader of Mexa Squad being the most popular. But yeah, man, Flamita's it's just like everybody was at different ends of the spectrum. Flamita's just like, fuck you guys. Ray Horus in the middle, like, trying to repair things between the two sides. And then Bandito's just like, what's up, man? Just relax, calm down. Come on, it's not that serious. Come on, man. And it played up so great in this match. But yeah, I just want to see where they go from here, man. It just seems like I don't know if that might be a thing between Flamita and Bandito, because these guys are actually, they team more like they're just like a regular tag team as well outside of Ring of Honor in Mexico. And I see those guys, if they play that out in other promotions, that's going to be a great story as well. I just want to see the match. I just want to see a match now, But kudos to Bandito. He's been through a lot ever since we had Final Battle. Wasn't able to perform at Final Battle due to the COVID complications. Comes back, loses the 6-man titles, loses them again, or in his rematch doesn't get the victory. So he finally gets a well-needed win. And hopefully this is a start for the climb up the ladder in any division. I would love to see. He probably is going to jump into the TV title division. Hopefully, I wouldn't mind seeing him in the pure division. I think that would be great. He can work his lucha style, and he can also do pure wrestling as well. So I just want to see where he goes from here.
Yeah. This is just as like how I said earlier about Jay Briscoe and EC3 being, I want to see how they develop these guys coming out of this. This is also, I think this is the top one that I am most interested to see, because we know kind of where LFI and Foundation are going to go out of this. So, okay, whatever. But EC3, Jay Briscoe, Bandito, Flamita, and to a lesser extent, Ray Horus, seeing how all 5 of these guys come out of this match, their matches, it's going to be really interesting to see. But now we have a little bit of a downer moment here. We were not really looking forward to this match that much.
I sure wasn't.
And yeah, and they had a chance to get that back for us, but they really failed. At least to me. This is Matt Taven and Vincent facing each other in an unsanctioned match. The purpose of this was for multiple reasons. One, you were having 2 grudge matches on the same card. You have to find a way to differentiate them. So you give one the unsanctioned stipulation, and on top of it, for differentiation purposes, and because it helps with COVID, you can film this one in a completely different location. It works as part of the storyline. Both of them came out of the same indie promotion, so they said let's take this back to where it started for us. Let's do things back there in that building. And I don't know, maybe it was because the layout of the building was so weird, or they started up and then moved down, or just, I don't know, like the camera angles didn't really work for me.
The lighting too.
Just a lot of it didn't really work. And this is a 13-minute and 40-second match after so Vincent beats Matt Taven at Final Battle 2019. We don't see Vincent for some time. I don't think we saw Taven for some time. Then the pandemic happened. They come out of the pandemic. There's issues between them, Taven and Vincent going back and forth. Mike Bennett gets added to this feud, but not Maria apparently. Then they're having a tag match with the OGK versus the Righteous because Bateman is part of the group. Taven and them win that tag match. Bennett gets his ankles broken. They come back. Bennett has the match against Bateman. There's so many different ways that then we get the Beer City Bruisers involved for apparently no
reason at all.
No reason whatsoever. And it hasn't like they haven't touched, like that is one plate where they were like, oh, we could keep this spit. No, let's just let that one can fall. That can fall. That's fine. But we have no idea how that factors in, and now we're getting an unsanctioned match, which would have been fine had somebody actually won. This match ends because they are standing up. So this part of it, like I mean, I don't know if you're like a big indie wrestling person, or if you've had the ability to go to a lot of shows, I think, over the years. For me, Logan Square Auditorium and Freelance is home. And Freelance, the way that auditorium is set up is very similar to how this is set up, with a lower area and then like a little upper deck. Now, normally for Freelance shows, the wrestlers are on that upper deck if they're not having a match, and they are watching everything that happens. And you can you look up, you see them. So on this upper deck, we have Vincent and Taven, and they're kind of battling back and forth. And then out of nowhere, Elmer Fudd's cousin shows up and just knocks both of them off of the balcony. They go through a table or tables. The guy takes his sweet time coming down the stairs, and then he like surveys everything, takes Vincent, and just like walks away. And that's how the match ends. This guy looks like, I don't know if it's Elmer Fudd's cousin, or if you watch True Detective, that like the creepy guy who ends up being the villain who abducts children and does horrible things to them, and like is like this Deliverance, Silence of the Lambs kind of person. Like, I don't know what's going on there. At first, I thought it was the Beer City Bruiser. I thought it was a guy. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I had to pause it, and I went back and I was like, no, that's not that person. What the fuck is going on here? So this, like, I think if somebody had won the match, I could have bumped this up. But because nobody won the match, it just exacerbated all the problems of the match and everything coming into this. I gave this one 1 3/4. I was like, this was not necessary whatsoever. So Ness, what did you think?
I give it 2 stars. And you touched on everything that I felt was wrong with it. The actual action in the match, the brawling, that was good. That at least for the base of the match, I enjoyed that. The lighting, though, like, why they were in the staircase, and you could barely see what was going on. You could see like their silhouettes, but it was just like bad lighting. Also, there was no finish. The match is still going on. There's nobody fucking won at all. I'm like, please don't let this be the way that this match ends. And it kind of was. One, we have no idea who the fuck this guy is. He comes out of nowhere. I don't really have a problem with him knocking both other guys over, because, you know, that's the type of thing that I would expect from Vincent. Just being the psychotic cult leader, like, he can do things of that nature, and it makes sense. But I would have liked it for it to make more sense to know whoever this random dude is, who I thought it was Beer City Bruiser at first too, and then you got a good look at him, and it's like just some random jabroni coming out of nowhere, interjecting himself in this match. And they had all honestly, like going into it, like you said, I've kind of been over it, but I've been giving them the chance. They had all the makings into making this match actually mean something and be a climax to this feud. This thing is not going to be over again for like I don't know how many times. That's what we wanted. We wanted this to finish, and both guys move on and do their own separate thing. This is just another door opening in this hallway of Matt Taven versus Vincent. And now with this random individual interjecting into the match, there not being no clear winner. So they're pretty much telling us that, oh yeah, this is going to continue now. And we're adding another random into this situation because, Beer City Bruiser and Brian Malonis, having them thrown into this story at random, because we haven't even seen them from that episode of Ring of Honor TV since that happened. So it's just like, they're all over the place. And at least I thought they were going to have it with some type of direction. I don't know where the fuck this is going right now. And they're just going, again, they're just in so many areas and just doing so much all at once. It's just kind of overbearing, just kind of overkill at this point. But yeah, I give the match 2 stars. Just it started off good. Like, again, the story behind it, these guys were, they came up in the business together. They eventually end up in Ring of Honor together. They take this story back to where their beginnings literally began. And I love that type of continuity and that type of storytelling in my wrestling. But then just the execution of it just really took me out of the match. Again, like I said, the brawling, it was some great spots. Where Vincent was trying to go for the acid drop on the outside, and Matt Taven threw him into the stack of chairs. That was great. When they were in the staircasing, again, the lighting in there was terrible, but Matt Taven's talking to Vincent like, "Oh, you think you're a god? Let's see if you can fly, God." Shout out to West Side Gun, because I don't know if he sees it, but I'll throw that out there for him. And then he throws him down the steps, and then goes for the elbow drop, the elbow drop off the top of the stairs. And I'm like, yo, that was decent, but it would have been better if I could actually see what the fuck he was doing. It was like pitch black. And I'm just like, oh man, I've been giving these guys so much shit. And the reason why I'm going off now, because they had the potential to pull me in and finally give them the respect for this feud. And all they did was just make me jeer at it even more. So I don't even know if I want to say I want to see where it goes now, because they're forcing me to have to want to see where it goes, but I don't want to, just because of the way that it ended. Like, if the random dude would have at least like pulled Vincent over Matt Taven and then like did his own 3 count, then carried him out, okay, we would have had a decisive winner. That would have made sense. That would have somewhat put an end to it, where they could have picked it up if they wanted to. Matt Taven could have said, yo, who's this random dude, blah, blah, blah. But now, if they literally have to have the story continue, because there's no end to it. There was no end. You're adding more people to it that we don't have no idea who this guy is. There was no winner. So it's just like they're keeping the story open and forcing us to see how things play out, even if we don't want to. So yeah, 2 stars. This definitely didn't play out how we wanted to. It had the potential to be great, and it was just like semi-okay.
Yeah, I don't. That's the other thing. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember there being a fucking ref.
No, there wasn't.
Like,
I don't think.
I like at the end of the match when he just carried him off, and I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. Where was the ref this whole time? I was like, was there a ref bump that I missed? Like, what exactly happened in this?
I don't remember seeing one either. I'll go back to see if there was one. I don't really recall. But I'm like, oh yeah, we don't have a ref. We got multiple cameramen.
Cameras, yeah. Taven, that's what I was about to say. Taven was like, "Come on, follow me, guys, follow me." It was like, "So we're gonna figure out where this guy is." And I was like, "Where's the ref this whole time?" But if only there was somebody who was part of Ring of Honor management, maybe even on the Ring of Honor board of directors, who would be interested in seeing this feud come to an actual close. If only there was somebody who was part of the board of directors, somebody who had that power, somebody who has the power apparently to make matches, to see this feud come to an actual close. Oh wait, there is, and this person has a vested interest. Quinn McKay is in the ring, and no, it's not Quinn. Quinn is fine. She does a good job. Quinn is in the ring, and she introduces the newest member of the Ring of Honor board of directors. No idea how it's Maria Bennett. No idea how Maria Bennett got this role. No idea why they gave her the role. Not that, okay, there's the how, there's the what, the why. We don't know when she got this role, because if she got it before this event, she could have done something to make sure there was a fucking ref in the unsanctioned match. We don't know where. Okay, we do know the where. They're in Baltimore. How many other fucking, what exactly is her role? Is it just the women's division? Is that the reason why she couldn't do something to figure out a finish to the match that has a participant that broke her husband's ankles? Like, I've run through all of them. The only thing we had an actual answer to is the where, which is Baltimore, because that's where they're at. And now I'm sad for Baltimore because they had to be witness to this. This is, and maybe that's why there was nobody in the arena, because they knew that's what was going to happen. That Maria Bennett was going to come out here right after the match with her husband's best friend that went to no finish, that had a shit ton of problems, and say, you know what? We're going to bring back the women's championship, and we're going to have a women's tournament. You already have 5 titles. You have a world title, TV title, pure title, tag title, 6-man title. You're now going to add a 6th championship for a separate division. Oh, wait, and you only have 2 matches a week. How exactly you're going to, like, this is, I mean, you know what? I think maybe that's why they let the Beer City Bruiser plate fall off, because they were like, we need to put the women on. All right, let's get this plate going. Like, where exactly do you have the time to book all of this? Like, that part's going to throw me. I want to see how exactly they pull that off. But Maria Bennett is saying that they are going to be moving forward with crowning a new women's champion. We had Kelly Klein as a previous champion. There was a whole situation that happened because of that. There's a lawsuit now because of everything that happened because of Kelly Klein as champion. We'll see how that one turns out. But during the announcement, the Allure make their return to Ring of Honor. It is Mandy Leon and Angelina Love. They come out, and they're kind of running down Maria for being in this position. I was like, yes, thank you. Angelina had one of the best lines, I think, of the entire night, where she said, "What position did you use to get into this position?" And even that, like, it took me like a half. I was like, oh, that's funny, especially because they already told us she's married. Oh, this is hilarious. You should beat that girl's ass. Like, what the fuck? Like, why? And Maria, I mean, I guess she took it in stride. It's not the first time that she's had to deal with the jokes about whether she slept her way to the top as during a in storyline situation, but she does make us a match. She does make us a match. She is inviting people from around the world. And actually, Angelina has probably the second best line of the night when Maria says you have to earn opportunities and you have to actually compete, and you haven't had a match in a year. And Angelina just goes, "Not my fault."
Yeah.
Like, to her point and to what we're saying, they only do 2 matches, 3 if they're lucky a week. Where are they going to find time for these women? I don't know. But we are going to start things off with Maria saying that Angelina can get a first-round bye in the tournament if she can beat Quinn McKay. Now, for those who don't know, sometime earlier, and I mean by sometime, I mean months earlier, there was a moment where Quinn McKay was attempting to do her job and just tell us some Ring of Honor news, and the Allure came and ran her down and kind of beat her up and were mean to her and so on and so forth. And they've had a long-standing issues between them and Quinn McKay. So now Quinn McKay finally gets some kind of comeuppance. I feel like this is just a weird way to get Angelina Love a first-round bye in the tournament, unless randomly Quinn McKay beats Angelina Love, which I don't see happening. But hey, stranger things have happened in wrestling. So
yeah, we just got done talking about one of them.
Yeah, I was about to say, as the Peacock interns are finding out, stranger things have happened in wrestling. So we get this announcement. Ness, what are your thoughts on just the Women of Honor coming back, and what you think about how this is all going to play out? Oh, and is there anybody you'd like to see in the tournament? That's another thing.
Oh man. I'm trying to think of people that are like contractually obligated to other promotions at the moment. I definitely want to see. I'm ready to see Quinn McKay's performance. I feel as though this was like a long time coming. Obviously, before with her running with the Allure. So and even she looked like she was ready for that announcement to be made of the match between her and Angelina Love. But yeah, let me take this from the top. Now, I'm gonna try to start off positive. The fact that they gave Maria Kanellis Bennett this position on the board of directors and giving her the reins over the women's division, I will say that that's a great start for the rebooting of their women's division. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to end it there. She has. What the fuck? She has, in my opinion, a bigger stake in the situation that happened with her husband, her husband's best friend, and they're doing this shit on purpose. She does not acknowledge anything that happens with Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, Vincent, the Righteous, anybody. None of that. She doesn't say shit about it. And they continuously have her on the either whether it be weekly TV, the pay-per-view, they have Matt Taven, Vincent, Maria Kanellis right after. And she doesn't continue anything. She doesn't speak on it, make note of anything. It's like they're two separate entities. I kind of understand that because they might quite possibly want her to be her own individual. But no, you can't do that because we know that you and your husband came back to Ring of Honor. They play up on the fact that that's your husband and your husband's best friend. You have been on commentary for these matches, and you have not said anything about what's bad going on. All right, so that's just my quick rant for that. So let me get back on topic. I give her props for this and this alone. The fact that she's going to be, storyline wise, heading the revitalization of the women's division. Honestly, off the top of my head, I can't say who I would like to see in it because, like, again, I don't know who's signed or who's not, who's unsigned, who's freelancing talent that I would like to see in there. I'm just waiting to see, but they gotta do more with it. I feel as though this is going to be, they're going to just strictly keep this on YouTube. We might randomly get a Women of Honor match like once every 6 months on Ring of Honor TV. I just don't see them putting a lot of stake into this. Again, they're only an hour a week, and not to sound misogynistic or sexist or, like a woman-hating man of the He-Man Woman Haters Club, but it's just so much more of importance in the men's division of Ring of Honor because they focus on that, and again, we only get an hour a week of this. So where do you fit the Women of Honor? Where do you fit the women's division in all of this? Unless you guys are expanding or unless you guys are putting it on strictly for YouTube. So it just seems like you're not really as serious about it as you're trying to make us believe that you are. You know, like you guys got to put more stake into it rather than, or there's going to be a championship tournament to crown the new Woman of Honor champion. Which again, their heart's in the right place with doing it. So I can't fault them for that. But women's wrestling is not even just taking off. It has been one of the staples over the past couple of years when it comes to professional wrestling, that every major promotion, even smaller indie promotions, are taking stake in this. And it just kind of seems like Ring of Honor has always been the step behind in this aspect. I want to be excited for this. I'm kind of not, because just from that alone, like we've seen just right now, they're in the middle of a legal battle with how their real life, you tried to treat your women's champion like shit. You know, you fired her when she had a concussion. Like, how am I supposed to take you guys seriously and wanted to bring honor to your women's division when you're in real life not bringing honor to your former women's champion? So I'm kind of on the fence. Again, I want to see where it goes. I want to have faith in it, but their history and the track record recently kind of shows that we really shouldn't at this point, you know. But like I said, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to suspend my belief from the real life situation that's going on between them and Kelly Klein, and I'm going to give them a chance. I just really need for them to actually make this worth our while. Don't just do it because you see other promotions doing it. And again, like AEW, of course, of NXT, and I'll just strictly say NXT because the main roster women's division, that they book that like shit. Even in Japan, I'm not New Japan, but there are Joshi promotions that just surround around the women's division, you know, Stardom and things of that nature. And then and like even NWA, you know, they're doing better with their depleted women's division than Ring of Honor as a whole as well. You know, Impact, you know, the knockouts, just quite possibly the start of highlighting women's wrestling in the States. So they have a lot of competition to stand up to in that regard. But again, I'm going to give them a chance. I'm really looking forward to seeing Quinn McKay in the ring, because again, the continuity of this storyline between her and the Allure, that has been going on for quite some time. And I love the fact that they're going to, I don't necessarily see, I'm not even going to try to predict it. I don't know where it's going to go if, Angelina Love can get the victory over Quinn McKay and she gets that first round bye, or that Quinn McKay gets the win and somehow down the line they face each other again in this match, or I'm sorry, in the tournament. So I'm interested. I honestly am. Like, I have to say, I am interested. I just need that Ring of Honor to do its due diligence and give this the tournament and just the division itself the respect that it definitely deserves and definitely needs.
Yeah, one of the things I thought about, and I guess I forgot to bring this up, was that at the end of the pre-show, we saw Rocky Romero of New Japan join the commentary team, and he's on commentary throughout this entire thing. And I only remembered that because when I asked you who you thought could be in the tournament, it struck me that Rocky is part of New Japan. New Japan is owned by Bushi Road. Bushi Road also owns Stardom. And they could potentially use some people from Stardom as wrestlers in this tournament. And I think that that could be a way that they go. And also, we are seeing the other thing that I thought about when we saw Rocky was Rocky is big obviously he's big with New Japan management, but he's also big with Impact's management. And that's part of how the Forbidden Door was broken down. We know that that Tony Khan was able to use Kenny's relationship with Don Callis to help smooth things over with how they're going to work with Impact. But we know that they were also able to use Rocky's position in New Japan management to be part of how they were able to solve the problem of New Japan and AEW. So I'm wondering if maybe Rocky being there as part of the commentary team could potentially signify something to that degree. And maybe, then this would be the big maybe, it would be crazy because it would revolve around Rocky Romero being the linchpin for all of this. But if Rocky Romero was able to find a way, because he's also great friends with the Young Bucks, if they're able to use that relationship and use the fact that they can bring in New Japan people back to Ring of Honor to overall smooth the relationship of Ring of Honor and the Elite, that would be incredible, because then we can see some really, I mean, I know we're talking about the women's division, but just in general, we'll be able to see some incredible matches. But Ring of Honor already has its fair share of incredible matches. And, you know, Ness didn't think that one half of this next match could have an incredible match.
Surely didn't.
But I think if there was one thing that surprised Ness, and I don't know, I'm speaking for him, but if there was one thing that surprised Ness, it was just how good of a match this person could have. And this is Jonathan Gresham taking on Dak Draper, the Mile High Magnum, with the Ring of Honor Pure Championship on the line. So the grudge match, Jay Briscoe EC3, goes 20 minutes 55 seconds. This one goes 20 minutes 29 seconds. That was the only difference.
The irony in this, you said that was going to fucking happen. You said this is going to be an extremely long match, and I said, you know what? You were trolling, but it honestly fucking happened. And the whole time I'm watching it, and I'm just like, yo, he was fucking right. Luckily, well, we'll get into it, but yeah, you got me with that. You got me.
This match, and I'm no longer trolling at this point. This match is probably my favorite of the night. This match was incredible from start to finish. We have a David and Goliath match. Obviously, one of them is 5'4", one of them is like, I think 6'2". We have a David and Goliath match. But what's interesting is that while the David and Goliath is there in size, when it comes to experience, it's the other way around. Gresham is the Goliath when it comes to experience. Dak Draper is, for better or worse, the David. He is much more inexperienced when it comes to Jonathan Gresham, who has been tapping people out since, I don't know, we were probably still in high school. Like, it feels that way sometimes, at least with Jonathan Gresham. But this match had everything. This match had the size advantage coming into play, with Jonathan Gresham having to use all 3 rope breaks in the first 8 minutes. And I think it was Coleman. Yeah, I think it was Coleman. He pointed out, he said, this match has a 60-minute time limit. He's used all the rope breaks. What's he going to do for the other, 45 minutes of this match? He has no option. But Jonathan Gresham needs to find a way, and he does find a way, like situations where he is lying there on the ground, staring up at the lights. The ref is counting. He's going to get counted out, and he just manages to roll under the ropes. And that's enough to start a new count and give him a break. And Dak Draper plays his role pretty much perfectly. Like, he already comes across as a good, smarmy heel who has physicality, but now he's just like, I'm hitting this guy. Like, what more do you want from me? Like, I'm putting him down. I'm hitting him with everything, and he keeps coming back. Jonathan Gresham lives up to his octopus moniker because he refuses to stay down, and just when Dak Draper thinks he hit a powerbomb off the top rope onto Gresham, and Gresham kicked out. Gresham was like, no. No. Jordan lost the Impact Women's Championship to Deanna. She can't get it back. I can't I got one of us has to have a championship in this marriage. No. This is not gonna work. Jack Draper hits this guy with absolutely everything but the kitchen sink, and he cannot find a way to keep Gresham down. Eventually, they take this to the outside in what I think is one of the greatest spots I've seen in a long time, because it only works due to the size advantage. I don't think so what happens is Dak Draper is outside and Gresham does tope suicida through the ropes, and lands on Draper. But because of his size compared to Draper's size, he doesn't knock him over. And two, because of his size versus Draper's size, he's able to latch on and, true to that octopus name, lock in a sleeper hold. And it looks as though Draper is going to be down and out for the count. And Draper, we were talking earlier about Bandito's strength. This is a level of strength as well. I don't know if I would put it over the Bandito thing, but he, with Gresham on his back, gets from the barricade to the ring, climbs the rope, climbs up, gets inside of the ring, and at that moment, with Gresham on his back the entire time, choking him out, finally collapses. He grabs onto the rope, but the rope can't save him anymore because he also has used all 3 of his rope breaks. And he doesn't tap, but he does pass out, and that is enough to give Jonathan Gresham the win over Dak Draper. I gave this one 4 1/4. This is my highest rated Ring of Honor match thus far since Ness and I have started reviewing Ring of Honor. This was incredible. I thought this was really well done. I wish that this was a match that had a larger audience to be able to see this. I think this match with that Ring of Honor crowd, when Dak Draper, what would have happened when Gresham nails that tope and then puts him in the sleeper hold, that crowd would have lost it. And then when Draper gets up onto the ring apron and is climbing in, and it looks as though like he's out, man, this would have been really good. So I absolutely love this. I'm looking forward to hearing Ness praise Dak Draper. So let's get into it, sir. What did you think about this one?
I must say, 4 1/4. This definitely was a great match. All right, so I actually have to eat my words right now. Going into this, you guys heard my rants. Dak Draper in the pure division. I'm still not sold as much, but this match leads me to have that opinion turned around. The David versus Goliath aspect of the match, that was one of the better parts. Jonathan Gresham can't match strength with Dak Draper in any way, shape, or form. That's just obvious here. So he played up to his strengths, and using, him being the octopus, the multiple holds and submissions and transitions, just technical wrestling that we know that Jonathan Gresham does. He played up to his strengths in that. But again, Dak Draper, just not so much a pure wrestler, but he used his size and his power to his advantage in this match. Again, like you said, not even all that much into the match, Jonathan Gresham already exasperated all 3 of his rope breaks. That's not something I expected to see out of this. Like you would expect that the guy that has a technical ability, technical prowess, would have found a way. And even at one point, Dak Draper has him in the Magnum with the Magnum muffler, and he has him by the ropes so he can actually use the ropes to get him out. I think that was actually, see, look at me praising Dak Draper. And this match, like I honestly can say that this match brought, oh man, I can't even say it. I'm going to say it. I have to give Dak Draper his due for this match. He made me a fan in this match because he definitely showed up. At one point, again, he throws another punch, but I can't hold that against him. I can't hold that against him, honestly, because it worked for the match. Jonathan Gresham wasn't going to go down without a fight. He was getting frustrated in Dak Draper, so he obviously did something that he felt that he needed to do that would have been his best option of getting this win. He just, it just went through his mind, or just out of his mind, that Jonathan Gresham is on a different level of the guys that he's faced. So overall, just like you said, he hit him with the doctor bomb, and then the doctor bomb from the second rope or the top turnbuckle. It was crazy. There was points in this match where I honestly thought that Dak Draper was going to win. And honestly, I'm like, look, don't do it. I'm enjoying the match. You guys at least you get that out of me. Don't do this. Don't do this to me. But overall, and like I said, you definitely were trolling when you said this was going to be a long match. That pissed me off when you said it. But as I'm watching this, and it's actually going on to be, 20 minutes and however many seconds?
Yeah, 20 and a half.
Yeah. So at the end of that, it was worth it. It was worth to actually see the match go that length, because they drugged out the story of Dak Draper being this, he said he's the underdog in the situation. That's a totally new aspect of him for him, because he's not really that, again, up to my opinion, he's not really like a pure wrestling guy. This was the wheelhouse, so to speak, for Jonathan Gresham. But Dak Draper using his size and his strength to his advantage, having Jonathan Gresham ultimately come out as the underdog in this match, having the fight from under to get the victory. And that tope suicida, or as Caprice Coleman called it, the tope suicida, that was one of the most innovative things I've seen, and I haven't seen anything like that in quite some time. Probably ever. I've never seen that happen in a match before. If you guys have ever seen it, let us know. That was just a crazy spot to see, and then that ultimately being the deciding factor for the match. Both guys having their rope breaks exasperated, and just Dak Draper just having Gresham on his back all that time, having him in the sleeper for just however long it happened, and then even credit to Dak Draper. He didn't tap. He wasn't pinned. He ultimately lost the match, but he goes out looking strong. So, 4 1/4. And it's crazy to hear myself say this, because again, going into this match, I did not expect to enjoy this match as much as I did, and I gave Dak Draper shit. I gave him a lot of shit for this match. I have to take those words back. I give you your props, Mr. Draper, for a phenomenal match, a phenomenal showing, and one of the greatest technical wrestlers in the world today. You definitely held your own. So kudos to you, sir.
Speaking of how good Jonathan Gresham is, I think it was they asked Brian who he would be interested in wrestling outside of WWE, and he said that Jonathan Gresham was the person that he wanted to wrestle like the most, or somebody he was super interested in wrestling, just because of how technical that match would be. Yeah. If you could get a triple threat of Brian versus Gresham versus ZSJ, I think that would be
amazing.
My God, that would just be incredible. Like just the number of things that would be able to happen in that. That would be what was it? They did it in the Bandito Flamina Ray Horus match where each one had the boot on each other. Yeah. You'd have some great moments like that. But this was just a really, really good match, and it reinforced that theme of, is honor real? Because Dak Draper did shake Jonathan Gresham's hand after the match, but he did not tap. He did not be pinned. He was only defeated because the ref stepped in to save him from himself. And that's our theme, of our overarching theme of the pay-per-view. We are now getting into our final 2 matches. And we've had they started us off with that LFI Foundation story. We kind of had it drop down a little bit, but now it's going to pick right back up. And the way they're going to do that is with our tag team titles. They are on the line. And the Foundation has a chance to win even more gold from LFI when Rhett Titus and Tracy Williams takes on Kenny King and La Bestia del Ring. It's weird that this tag title match is a cool down match.
Yeah.
That's in essence what it is. But despite knowing the role of being a cool down match, these guys know what they're supposed to do, and they know that they're going to do what they want to do. And what they want to do is continue to show out, despite the fact that what they're supposed to do is kind of, in a way, kind of take things easy for us, since we've just seen that incredible Dak Draper performance. So
it's still weird to hear that, man. It's crazy.
So here we have a really solid tag match. There are some hard-hitting shots. We get to see more of Bestia than we've seen prior to. He is stepping in for the aforementioned injured Dragon Lee. We have Kenny King versus Rhett Titus. There's a lot of history there. We see Tracy Williams being willing to take on Bestia. We see Rhett Titus being willing to take on Bestia. We see a lot of heavy-hitting action. We don't really see Amy Rose do too much, but that's kind of to be expected now. But we have a moment here where it looks as though LFI is going to be able to pull out this win over Foundation. But Foundation was dead serious when they said, we are coming in here with a game plan, and that game plan is to purify every single division. And the only way we can do that is to win all the titles. And so I'm sorry, LFI boys, but you got to go down. And this was a interesting twist because we did not predict this. We predicted that the TV title would change hands, but that the tag titles would remain as part of LFI. We both said that because that's kind of what would make sense. But Ring of Honor, they did something interesting because they said, no, let's go all out. And in a way, to me, after it happened, I was like, okay, well, that kind of makes it a little bit of a guarantee with the main event. But at least they were like, let's try to create this sense of insecurity surrounding LFI because of what happens after the match. But in the match itself, 10.5 minutes, Rhett Titus, Tracy Williams take the tag titles from LFI. This was Kenny King, if I remember, I forget right now. Kenny King is the one who gets pinned, if I remember right. No, it was Bestia. It was Bestia.
He tapped.
Yeah, it was Bestia. Yeah. So this is interesting because in both situations, and this is why I like the finish, both situations, the person who was subbing for Dragon Lee is the person who causes the loss, which that was what I liked about it. So we have new tag team champions. We have 3 out of the, I guess, main titles. I don't know if the 6-man titles are really main titles, but 3 out of the main titles are in the hands of Foundation. I guess the reason why I don't think that they're main titles is because Foundation shows almost no interest in getting them. So like when they're saying we want to purify Ring of Honor and purify all the titles, they're like, all the titles except for the 6-mans. Like
you guys can keep that shit.
I don't know that or Foundation fears Shane Taylor Promotions. One of the two is the situation. But either way, we have new tag team champions, and Kenny King and Bestia are pissed off at Amy Rose. They're saying, "What are you like? You are absolutely useless." And it was like, and around the world, all members of Honor Club and not Honor Club and everybody watching was just like, we've seen that for a while. Why did it take you so long? What is going on? So they unceremoniously, I was going to say kick her out of LFI, but that's not really what happens. They speared her out of LFI. Bestia hits a wicked spear on Amy Rose, breaking her in half, proverbial broken in half, and kicking her out of LFI. I gave the match 2.5 stars, maybe 2 3/4. I can see it there. There was some nice action back and forth. I liked the finish, even though I didn't. So I had to give it some more credence. But Ness, what did you think?
Yeah, I gave this match. I'll go 2 3/4 stars. I liked it. The finish, definitely didn't expect that, as you touched on already. We pretty much expected for LFI to retain, figuring that they were going to lose at least one title for sure in the TV title. The world title, who knew what that was going to happen. We figured that it would probably be stay in the camp, but this is where we figured that they would retain the tag team titles as well. Amy Rose. If this is your first time watching us and we're reviewing or Review of Honor, we've consistently been saying she has no business being with LFI. They're pretty much padding her stats. Oh, she's the first person to manage the world champion, the TV title champion, and the tag team champions all at once. These guys went out there and did all the fucking work. She didn't do shit. She's on commentary. Even if you can even get a word out of her, because half the time she doesn't even fucking talk when she's on commentary. She doesn't really manage them. She just comes out with them and sits at the commentary table and then leaves with them. So this was the first time I've actually seen her. Well, from the last episode with Tony Deppen versus Kenny King, that's one of the first or more times that she's actually been at ringside and somewhat vocal. But in this match, she didn't do shit. You went from being in the opener and trying to help, which again, her putting Kenny King's foot on the ropes, that was as much praise as I can give her. She finally did something right. Finally did something. But then immediately fucks that up. And then now you would think she said, you know what? We just lost the title from LFI. I need to reassure that the rest of my team that I can do my job as the manager and help them retain the tag titles. She doesn't even do that. So ultimately, I thought it was really, really going to lead to Kenny King being the one to initially, quote unquote, kick her out, so to speak. But because we're the intensity was there, tempers were flaring. He eventually goes you know what, I'm sorry, let's not get besides ourselves. And he's like, you know what, you're done. I don't know where Bestia spears the shit out of her. I'm like, wow. At this point, we kind of were figuring it was going to lead to this. She has not been that helpful. She's not an asset to LFI. At this point, she's kicked out. She can go start and being part of the rebooting women's division. Who knows? I'm not really invested in whatever Amy Rose is doing. She's a beautiful girl. I'm sure she has all the purest intentions of wanting to do well in Ring of Honor, just not with LFI. It wasn't working in my opinion. But overall, the match was great. It was a lot of back and forth action. I like the fact that one underlining aspect of the match was Red Titus just throwing hands at one point, because he's they mentioned it on commentary. He's these guys are the pure wrestlers. They don't come out here to fight. Red Titus is here to fight. Everything he's been through with Kenny King, and that's when it happened. Is with Kenny King. These guys are former best friends, former tag team partners, former tag team champions. So the history between them up to this point, I like that Rhett he lets that side come out of him and then ultimately take over him. But it was nice to see that side from him. So ultimately, I definitely didn't see the Foundation getting the tag team titles back. Nothing wrong with that. We figured that it would be one guy that's all that basically just happened. The guy that in Dragon Lee, who was a double champ, doesn't show up to the pay-per-view because, he's not medically cleared, to ultimately literally lose both titles, not have a hand in losing both those titles, but the guy he was supposed to face in both those matches is now the reigning and defending double champ, television champion, and now tag team champion in Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. So I just thought that was a hilarious subtlety to now this continuously ongoing story between LFI and the Foundation. So I just want to see, again, like you said, when Dragon Lee makes his return, how's that going to fit in the story? Because again, he wasn't a part of neither one of these matches, and he lost. Now he doesn't have no title, and it's not his fault whatsoever. So I want to see if he plays up on that once he makes his return. But yeah, man, it wasn't something that we were expecting, but it's not something that we were going to be upset at either, because they're a great team.
Yeah, it's just crazy that like, the classic, how do you get fired on your day off from Friday? It's like, how do you lose both these championships on basically your day off?
Literally. I mean, he's at home like, what the fuck? I should have just showed up with one arm, or my busted eardrum, whatever the case may be. I would have had a better chance of winning than you guys. And oh my God.
And the best part is, the second time around, the person who tapped is his father.
Yeah. I honestly thought if they were going to lose, it would be Kenny. Kenny would fuck up in both matches. I thought that's where the way they were going, but I actually like the fact that
we had a specific reason for thinking that,
Yeah.
But yeah, we and then that was the other thing. Once the spear heard round the world was delivered to Amy Rose, in the back of my mind, I was like, man, Amy Rose isn't really that good of a manager. Thea Trinidad would never. She would just this would never happen under her watch. She gets championships for her guys.
Oh yeah.
So then immediately I was like, oh my God, all of this is gonna work if this main event turns out the way I hope it does. Yeah. So let's talk about this main event. This is, for all the marbles, we have Jay Lethal, the franchise, up against Roosh, our champion. Roosh has been champion for an obscene amount of time, and it is starting to feel as though Roosh is headed for a record-breaking reign. But standing in his way is Jay Lethal, the franchise of Ring of Honor, and it's crazy when they run down his accolades as he's coming out. They talk about how he's the longest combined days for the World Championship. He has the longest single reign for the TV Championship. He has, I think, an incredibly long combined reign for the tag titles. He is the franchise. This man is Ring of Honor. He is the heart and soul of Ring of Honor, and Roosh has to do his very best to gore that heart with those bullhorns out of Ring of Honor to be able to put his own black dark heart inside of Ring of Honor and show that LFI is how we are going to be moving forward. Is honor real or is not? And they have now, this is what I realized as Jay Lethal was coming out there running down the accolades. The reason why they took the tag titles off of LFI was because of the amount of pressure it puts on Jay Lethal's shoulders as he is walking out. Every Foundation member has won their match. They all are champions. You, the franchise, are the only person who isn't a champion. And you can finally make good on this promise if you beat Roosh. And earlier in the night, he had gone to Todd Sinclair and he had said, I know Roosh cheats. I know he's an asshole. Don't disqualify this dude. You have to give me every opportunity to win. I know it may look as though I'm out of it, but give me that opportunity. And he is going to look out of it during points of this match. Roosh beats the brakes off of Jay Lethal at different parts of this match. He takes him to the outside. He uses that barricade like he is, as he's almost, it's his favorite place. It's not even the ring is his favorite place. It's that specific part of the arena where that barricade is, where he can use it to bash people and hurt them to almost irreparable degree. Those famous wires come out. Those cords. The cords come out.
As always.
Everybody's talking about cutting the cord. No, Roosh is like, we need more cords. Like, can we get more cords in this? How do I, like, can I go to Home Depot? Like, I'll be right back. I'll get more cords. He is choking Jay Lethal out with the cords. We have moments where LFI comes down to try to surround the ring to help Roosh. We see the Foundation run out to make the save. There's a little bit of a weird moment where they chase LFI off, but then like LFI was still there or something like that, like, and the Foundation had left or something to that effect. But this was a solid match. This was a really good match. I gave this one 3. No, not 3. What am I saying? I gave this one 4. This was a 4-star match for me. This was really well done. I can maybe see it dropping it down to 375, but there were some really awesome spots, and I thought that we had everything summed up for what it meant for Jay Lethal to win. When Jay Lethal takes the bullhorns drop kick and does the one thing that nobody has thought apparently to do, and that's, you're in the corner, you take the hit, just roll out of the ring. Just roll right out of the ring. They kind of kill the moment though, because Jay then makes the mistake, the like out of character mistake of Roosh is trying to tell the ref, this dude's knocked out, count him out, like just let's get out of here so we can go home and have some Dos Equis or whatever, Tecate, whatever they want to drink. But then Jay Lethal's like, all right, I'm gonna try to like get up, and it was like, no, stay down. Like, it doesn't work if you start getting up. But he gets him back into the ring. He hits the bullhorns again. And he wins. He puts him away. This time he's smart to drag him out of the corner fast enough so that Jay Lethal cannot escape. And Roosh continues to cement himself as one of the greatest Ring of Honor champions of all time, especially when you consider who he is up against to be considered that. When he puts away the franchise, the 2-time Ring of Honor champion, and it was a really incredible match. I gave it 4 stars. Ness, what did you think? Yeah, and we'll talk about the post match after.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars as well. I'll go with 4. I think there was a little bit of room for like slight improvement, but nothing that would actually take away from the match. I enjoyed it for what it was. Even the beginning of the match, how it started off, Roosh adhering to the code of honor. They get a quarter of a star for that, because has yet to. We know that LFI, they do what they want, when they want, how they want, whenever they want, you know. And one of the things they have not been doing is respecting the honor of Ring of Honor and putting that honor back into Ring of Honor. They don't adhere to codes of honor. You know, they, as you've seen throughout the match, as the match progressed on, fight how they want to fight, use chairs, use weapons, use the numbers game, all that type of things that comes with LFI's ideology. But yeah, just already seeing the match start, Roosh adhering to the code of honor, and then the match literally starting off as I wouldn't say a pure wrestling match, but they were locking up, you know, just doing regular things you would see in a wrestling match, up until the point where they go into amateur wrestling positions and shoots, and Roosh turns that all around by spitting on Jay Lethal. Now the match has really begun. This is what we came to see, folks. And again, they did not disappoint. There was a lot of back and forth, hard hitting action as the match is breaking down, and LFI comes out. I'm extremely appreciative that they showed Jay Lethal going to Todd Sinclair saying, look, You know how I really need you to not throw this match out. You know how he is. You know the way he plays. Like, don't let him be the deciding factor in the way that this match is going to go. And as the match is going on and these things are playing out, you see Todd Sinclair being conflicted. Like, oh man, like I'm not for this, and I really want to throw this guy out. I really want to call this match, but you know, Jay's my guy, and he asked me not to do that. And you can see the emotions and the second guessing of what should I do on Todd Sinclair, and just the body language that he had. I really commend him for putting that in the match. But yeah, at one point I thought that Roosh was going to be over. Jay Lethal hits him with not only just one cutter, he hits him with the lethal injection, and I thought that was going to be it. But you know, Roosh was not going down without a fight. Ultimately, he retains, and at this point, it seems that, you know, nobody can top Roosh, man. And well, side note, it kind of sucks for Jay Lethal. He's the only member of the foundation that doesn't have a title right now. I can honestly say that he was booked strong in the loss, because again, the other matches didn't have somewhat of outside interference, but nothing to the levels of what Jay Lethal had to go through facing Roosh. Tracy Williams didn't go through that facing Kenny King. Kenny King and La Bestia del Ring, they didn't really use outside measures or underhand attacks of that nature in their match against Rhett Titus and Tracy Williams. But Jay Lethal had to deal with not only, you know, the disrespect out of Roosh, the just the way Roosh is, he brought a fight. It was a fight. It wasn't just a regular wrestling match. He brought the fight, you know, being on the outs, taking it to the outside, using the wires, having LFI come out. You know, granted the foundation came out, but that's more of a distraction as well for Jay Lethal to be worried about everything else that's going on around the ring and not just focus on the guy that was in his ring. So he had a lot of other aspects and a lot of other obstacles in his match that, again, it didn't work out in his favor, but he still fought hard even if he suffered a loss. So we got to give Jay his props for that. But like I said, at this point, it looks like Roosh is untouchable.
Yeah.
Or so we thought.
Yeah. So let's just Roosh now is the fourth longest combined reigns in Ring of Honor history. He was tied 462 days. He was tied with none other than Bryan Danielson, but now he is 465. So he's past Bryan Danielson, which just leaves Nigel McGuinness, Samoa Joe, and Jay Lethal. He is gunning for them. Now, granted, he's got to hold the title for like 200 and some days to catch up with Jay Lethal. But it does seem as though there aren't any obstacles in his path. LFI is around the ringside. They are looking to take out Jay Lethal. The Foundation come out. The numbers game is just too much for the Foundation. It doesn't look as though they are going to be able to survive this attack. And out of nowhere, Brody King makes his return. A hell of a big obstacle if we're talking about who could be gunning to stop Roosh's long reign. But he's not alone. He's not alone, ladies and gentlemen. No, he is joined by none other than the most dangerous man in all of Ring of Honor. Don't talk to me about Jonathan Gresham. Don't talk to me about Dak Draper. Don't talk to me about Jay Briscoe or Vincent with the ankle breaking. Talk to me about Tony motherfucking Deppen. Brody King comes out with Tony Deppen, and it's like, yeah. He's like, because he was saying before you had the numbers advantage, now I do. And Tony Deppen comes out, and I was like, that counts as like half a person. I don't understand what's happening here. Like, if you'd come out with Hornswoggle, I'd have been like, all right, cool. But I don't get, like, okay, I'm being a little disrespectful to Tony Deppen, but my point is that you only come out with like one person. There's still a numbers advantage, and Tony Deppen is not as good as these guys. What's going on? And so he says, "Oh wait, there's more." And he turns back up the ramp, but they show us that in the ring, none other than Homicide and Chris Dickinson are here in Ring of Honor. And this is a big moment because Homicide formerly was part of NWA. Chris Dickinson was part of NWA, UWN, and is currently on New Japan Strong. And we have a moment where these four guys take out LFI. They knock them all out. There's a nice brainbuster from Dickinson. There is Cop Killer from Homicide, and Tony Deppen's there, and Brody King is just like laying into people. And then he extends his hand to Jay Lethal, and Jay Lethal's like, "Oh, thank God." And he takes Brody King's hand. Brody King pulls him up. It looks as though we're going to get a nice feel-good moment to close out that anniversary show. Oh, wait, no, clothesline. Brody King knocks Jay Lethal down with a clothesline, and it was really good because I think Caprice, was like, "Oh, we're gonna get a moment here, like Brody King's helping out Jay Lethal." That he hits the clothesline. Oh wait, I was wrong. He was like, "Nope." And we have a new, I guess, faction. We don't know exactly what they're called, what their name is, but they look as though they are going to take the fight to LFI. Now, it's interesting because Ring of Honor just transferred all of the other gold from LFI to the Foundation. Now, maybe there's going to be some issues because they knocked out Jay Lethal, and then we could get some three-way dances or some kind of transfers back and forth of titles as we take what was a faction feud and now turn it into potentially faction warfare. Because now there are three groups involved, and every single group has 4 members except for one. LFI is missing Dragon Lee, and now they're missing Amy Rose. I wonder who they could potentially use in those spots to help bolster the ranks. Because now, despite the fact that Roosh retained the title, and Roosh looked dominant doing so, LFI is actually the weakest out of all of the groups. Because they don't have, and the only title they have is the world title, and Roosh got knocked the f*** out by Brody King. So what's going on with LFI? And they lost members. LFI needs something. They need someone to help them get back to where they were, because we don't know how long Dragon Lee is going to be out. And even if Dragon Lee is not out for a long time, there's no harm in having numbers advantage because they are the heel group. And now they're facing off against two, well, I mean, not face groups, but at least one face group and one maybe tweener anti-hero kind of role. I'm going to be really interested in seeing how exactly Brody King brought these people together, because this is, I think, Brody King's first shot at leading a stable and leading a faction. So this is a big moment for him as the progression of his career. He was in Villain Enterprises as the tag title guy. Villain Enterprises is dissolved. He becomes a singles wrestler who is going after the world title. He has some issues there. Now he's potentially leading a faction. I want to see how this all turns out. But Ness, what were your thoughts on the post-match, and where do you think they're going to be going from here?
Well, having Brody King come out, that was actually a great start to this. A great start. It was just weird to see Tony Deppen coming out, and like you said, we pretty much figured that that's where it was going to go to. At least start with just those two. Because they were jumping Tony Deppen after his match with Kenny King, and Brody King came out and made the save. So we figured that that's where it would start. But man, not in a million years would I would have said Homicide returns to Ring of Honor And it's just so fitting that it happened on the 19th anniversary because, again, Homicide is a Ring of Honor legend. Again, another a wrestling legend, but he was one of the faces of Ring of Honor when it started. Chris Dickinson, kind of out of left field for me, but not in a bad way. I was looking up the name of the group, see if I can find it. I can't find it. I can't find the name, but I know it has something to do with violence, like something violence or violence something, and that makes the most sense for me. Well, at least for three of the guys in the group. Brody King, he's extremely violent. Homicide, what's more violent than a homicide? Chris Dickinson, he's definitely a extremely violent guy. We're gonna work to see if Tony Deppen can bring out that violent side of him. And it was funny when he comes out, he's going, "Oh yeah, I'm going down to the ring." Bird King's like, "Nah, relax, like, chill, just it's cool, just chill out." Because he would have ran in there and you run up, you get done up, and that's exactly what happened to Tony Deppen. But I'm interested. This definitely piqued my interest. I like the fact now it kind of I'm just gonna spitball here. The fact that they took the titles off of the mid card and the tag titles off of LFI is so that, in my opinion, they don't have everybody gunning for them. Now it's just Brody King and possibly Jay Lethal again. Maybe not so much, but definitely Brody King now has his sights set on Roosh being the Ring of Honor World Champion. Now, the rest of this faction, this new formerly found faction, they can go after the tag titles. They can also go after the TV title. So that gives them something to do with the foundation. They already got bad blood with LFI because of, their connections with Brody King. Brody King's feud going on with Roosh. So clearly there's already the bad blood there. There doesn't need any more out-of-the-box storytelling for that. We have exactly what we need for that. But now this gives the rest of the faction or the rest of the group under Brody King something to do with. We can see Tony Deppen, 1 week maybe face off against someone from LFI. Then the following week face off against someone from the Foundation. And, back and forth between all three of these groups now. We can see Chris Dickinson and Homicide possibly face Rhett Titus and Tracy Williams for the tag team titles. Or, there's just so many matches that we can get out of these three factions feuding. Like you said, it's going to be a full-blown factions war at this moment. And who's to say that there isn't another faction that can possibly be made out of nowhere? Because now Jay Briscoe, the Briscoes will probably get back on the same page, but now there's the respect and the honor between Jay Briscoe and EC3. So maybe that might lead to a Briscoes teaming with EC3 and another individual as well. So I'm definitely interested, and I definitely can't wait to see where they go with all of these, because it's just like it came out of left field. And now, like, when it happened, I'm like, holy shit, where the fuck did these guys come from? But that just reinforces the thing we were saying. Chris Dickinson is in so many promotions, or at the moment, like literally right now, one being New Japan. He's on New Japan Strong, so that makes sense. Homicide being from, well, at the time was in NWA. That actually is out of, because they had a relationship as well. I didn't know, where it happened, where it went. With the pandemic, obviously, that just stopped everything. But now that NWA is back, that can lead to even more for the story to be told and brought out, and adding other things to the storyline that is interesting. So I'm just here for it. Like the weeks upcoming, well, ROH TV is going to be extremely intriguing.
Yeah, I was being a little disrespectful to Tony Deppen earlier, but being around people like Brody King, Chris Dickinson, and Homicide could be what Deppen needs. That character needs to get that edge that gets him more and more wins. I think it'd be really interesting to see somebody, you know, because you brought up an idea that I hadn't even thought of, but EC3 with the Briscoes. You know, it'd be interesting to pair with that would be Eli Isom.
Isom.
That would be somebody who would be really interesting, I think, to pair up with them, considering where he's coming from and what he represents of that sense of purity, like that sense of honor, like what he is trying to do. He also fits in with the Foundation for sure, but he's just not as technical of a wrestler compared to them. But he does fit in with EC3's quest to see whether or not honor exists. So that might be somebody who would be perfect for this. And I swear, man, if they are able to get La Sombra and Thea Trinidad, oh man,
we're holding out. If it doesn't happen, we're not.
I swear to God, after they speared Amy Rose and the main event ended the way it did, I was just like, all right, where is she? Where is she? Like I was just like, where is she? She's going to come out here. She is going she and also that's what I was expecting. I was expecting. I knew LFI is going to beat down on Jay after Roosh wins. I know Foundation is going to come out to make the save. There's got to be something that lets LFI stand on top if after losing those titles, if that's where they want to go with this. And I was like, the logical thing is that's when you bring out Sombra and Thea Trinidad. And then Brody King comes out, and I was like, didn't see that coming, but I really like it. So yeah, it was overall very good. But guys, let's get into our matches of the night, our MVP, our LVPs, and what we think overall about the pay-per-view. My match of the night is going to be Jonathan Gresham versus Dak Draper, 4 1/4. That's my match of the night. Ness.
If you had told me that I'd be giving this person match of the night in any aspect, regardless of who he was in the ring with, when we first started doing this, doing a review of Honor, I'd tell you you're fucking crazy. Especially after the rants that I've had about this man's performance in the ring, specifically for the Pure Division. I'd say that I was crazy. But I can't believe I'm doing this because he actually showed up and once again made me eat my words. I have to go with match of the night as well, Jonathan Gresham versus Dak Draper.
Alrighty, we are in agreement there. We'll go with LVP. This one is tough for me because there are actually a lot of options. There's Dragon Lee, who got fired on his day off.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that shit.
There's Amy Rose, who lost. So her claim to fame was being the first person to manage all 3 of those champions. She lost 2 titles from that trio and then got kicked out of the group. She could be LVP. But I think there's really only one option for me, and that is co-LVP Vincent and Matt Taven. That was 13, just under 14 minutes of my life that I didn't need to have wasted with a match that was just completely unnecessary. I feel bad because they probably were hurting after that match, but I mean, you could even say LVP was just Taven because Vincent, I guess maybe they were told despite it being unsanctioned, you can't have Bateman there, so you can't have Bennett there, but he found a way around it by getting Elmer Fudd's cousin to show up. So I don't know if I can even give it to Vincent. It may just be Taven, but I'm gonna give it to both of them.
Well, even in that aspect, is they're pretty much taking it Vincent won that match, even though there wasn't a decisive winner. Yeah, so yeah. My LVP is Amy Rose. I'm definitely going to say it's her. You can't. Your claim to fame for LFI is, I manage the world champion, the TV title champion, and the tag champs. For you to lose 2 of the 3 in that night, fuck up horribly, and then get kicked out of the group on top of that, you, my friend, are the biggest loser. Definitely. Honorable mention to Dragon Lee, even though it wasn't his fault. He had nothing to do with it. But that's his team. He got to take that L with him as well. So definitely Amy Rose. That was. I already knew she was gonna be my LVP after that first match. So.
And that means we got to talk about our MVP. And for me, that is Mr. Jonathan Gresham. This guy carried Dak Draper to a very good match. Not to say that Dak Draper didn't contribute, but like I don't know if Dak Draper could have done that with somebody else. Like you needed Jonathan Gresham to be able to pull off that match. The idea, I don't know if this was planned or if he just thought about it, but like, and if it was planned, whoever came up with it, I'm assuming it was Gresham, to go for a suicida and transition like directly into a sleeper. Just incredible. This guy continues to show why he is one of the best technical wrestlers on the face of the planet. And you know what? I'll be willing to say that maybe some of the New Japan bias from Meltzer is real because of how much he is willing to give Zack Sabre Jr. credit. And it doesn't seem as though he wants to give the same amount of credit or a similar amount to Gresham. He's just like, Gresham's there in comparison to ZSJ, and Gresham is putting people into holds that I didn't even know existed. So I got my MVP of the night is Gresham, and yeah.
Definitely, I can see Gresham for that match. Again, as great as that match was, fucking Dak Draper. And I'm definitely not giving Dak Draper. As great as he did, as good as he did. Look, you got match of the night. That's all you're getting out of me. I'm going to go with EC3 because I did not expect to enjoy that match either as much as I did. I thought it was going to be another brawl. I thought it was just going to be a completely different atmosphere to that match than what it was. Again, I think that EC3 looked the best that I've seen him look in a match, like, period, since I've been seeing him wrestle. Again, I like the fact that you said that you don't know if that performance would have came out of Dak Draper if it was someone else in the ring. And I actually had that in the back of my mind too, but I'm not going to penalize him for that. But this performance of this match, in my opinion, Jay Briscoe, he's validated. He's a for sure thing in professional wrestling history, not even just Ring of Honor, in my opinion. But I believe that match was as good as it was because we were expecting it to go a certain way, and it went a complete 180 degree angle where it was completely turned around and something that we didn't expect. And it made out for a great match in that aspect. So I'm going to give my MVP to EC3 for exceeding my expectations in that match as well.
Gotcha. All right. So let's do our thumbs in the middle. And 3, 2, 1. Yeah, guys, this was a really good pay-per-view. I gave this, I want to say 7 and almost 8, almost an 8 for me. For this pay-per-view, I'll go with 8. This pay-per-view had really great moments. The only thing that kind of brought it down was that Vincent and Taven match. I think that was probably the only. Yeah, I can't really think that, and maybe that and having Maria Bennett right afterwards.
Oh my
I think
God.
that was the only thing that kind of just didn't work. I think maybe if they had if they had Maria, if they had done it backstage, and Quinn McKay was trying to interview Maria, and there was like a look of shock or like just she was like a little out of it a little bit. I think that would have been a little bit better than having her have the whole entrance coming out to the ring, like all of that aspect. Like they should have thought a little bit more about, because the other thing was like they mentioned multiple times that nobody had seen the tape of what happened in the match. Now, even if you want to say that Maria didn't know what was happening, even if you want to say Maria didn't know what happened, despite the fact that it was clearly they told us pre-taped, and I guess Mike didn't text her, oh shit, Taven's fucked up. Like, even if she hadn't known that, she watched it in real time as the rest of us did. So to have her just completely no-sell it seemed like it. I think that's also part of what hurts the match to me, is because they went through all of that, and in a way it just meant nothing, because there was no finish. There was no clear winner, and then they kind of brushed over it as though it wasn't important. So if you're telling me it's not important, then I have nothing to think of, then it's not important. Exactly. So that was I think that was the only low point of the show. Everything else hit the marker that it was supposed to hit, and we didn't always get the actual results that we thought. Like, we thought Josh Woods would beat Dalton Castle, for example, but hey, they also gave us things we didn't know we were going to want, like Bandito, Flamina, Ray Horus. So yeah, I give it an 8.
Yeah, I give it an 8 as well. Just for this, and the same points that you touched on, like the unsanctioned match, it kind of brought down everything else, and then just again, Maria Kanellis not mentioning anything that has to do with Taven, Bennett, Vincent, any of that, and then even with the Women of Honor, like I said, I'm going to give them a chance. They just don't have the best track record with their female talent right now. So yeah, but overall, it was a great show, great pay-per-view for Ring of Honor. Probably one of the best shows I've seen this week. Yeah, man. If you guys haven't gone out and watched it for yourselves, that's what we're here for, to review it for you. But take the time out of your day, if you have the time, to actually watch this show and enjoy it for yourself.
Yeah, guys, this was a really good match, and a series of really good matches and shows, and definitely get a chance to check it out if you have not already. But our time is drawing to a close. Ness, tell the people where they can find you, sir.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at skinny_Kravitz. You can follow me on Instagram at skinny__Kravitz. And as always, you can catch me on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, one half of Review of Honor. My man is StatKing, the man of 1,004 numbers, where we review everything that goes on in the Ring of Honor ring and Ring of Honor pay-per-views, clearly. You catch me on Blunt Impact and Joyce of Jabronis, my man Chris G. We form the Pod Heels. The Roundtable Rebel, catch me on the Roundtables. And as always, you can hear my illustrious voice on True Toxicity.
Yeah, guys, you can catch me on our Facebook groups, getting into fun conversations with all of you, like the guy who tried to, the tweet of Kenny Omega saying, like, I don't know why your favorites don't just move the needle, and then only using the TV ratings that were not that great, even though Kenny, being on an Impact pay-per-view, brought their second highest since Spike TV. So he was basically the same level of draw as Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems a little disingenuous to me. But you can also catch me on Dark Power, covering AEW Dark, Dark Elevation, MLW Fusion, and NWA, where we could see Chris Dickinson maybe pop back up, because we've seen a lot of cross-pollination between the NWA and New Japan Strong. Jordan Clearwater is one of those persons who comes to mind. But guys, thank you once again for tuning in. We appreciate all the time that you spend with us, because we appreciate having this platform and being able to talk to you guys. Like, these are conversations that we have amongst ourselves, but we get the opportunity to share them with you guys, and we appreciate all of that. The fact that you guys tune in and allow us to do that. Our subscriber count continues to go up. We appreciate that, guys. And we are continuing to try and do more and better things. So until next time, guys, for myself, for the three-time baby-making champ, we will see you guys on Review of Honor. And until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Peace.